The CMS library is organized by genre. So a genre is kind of a category that describes what the book is about. This poster shows the different genres we have in Colchester Middle School and what color spine label the books have. So that helps you find the books. You can also use the signs on the ends of the bookcases to help you find the genre category. I'm going to show you a little what the genres are and where they're all located to help you find books here in the library. So we're going to start over here. This is the classics section. Most of the books in this section were written at least 20 years ago. Some of these books also have some outdated attitudes towards groups of people and different things, but they have some cultural value and they've been around a long time. A lot of these are the books that like your parents and your grandparents read when they were in school. So we keep them around. They still have a lot of value. So going over to the other side of the room, near where Miss Vacherot's door is, we have a whole collection of picture books. Why do you wonder? Do we have picture books in the middle school library? Well, first of all, sometimes we use them for teaching purposes. Sometimes students like to bring them home if they have a younger sibling or a cousin that they like to read to. And honestly, picture books are fun. Sometimes people just like to look at them. On the other side of the shelf, we have our narrative nonfiction section. These are books that are nonfiction, so they're true books, but they are written in a kind of a story format so that they're more, maybe possibly more engaging to read. They're different from the more informational nonfiction books that we have in the nonfiction section. This is also where we have the who is and what was books. Right next door here, we have the biography section. Biographies, if you remember, and there are also autobiographies and memoirs here. These are the books written by and about people and their lives. Closer to the front door is our reference section. This is where we have books like atlases and dictionaries and field guides, and most of the books in this section stay in the library for research purposes. We also have a section of books that are about Vermont and Colchester history. Underneath the Vermont history books is our manga collection. On the other side of this bookshelf is where all of our graphic novels live. So the graphic novels are the books that are like comic books. So, for example, this is the I Survive series, but unlike the regular I Survive books, this is a comic version of it with pictures in the graphic novel section. On the left side of the library, when you come in, is our nonfiction section. This is where our informational books are on all different kinds of topics. And these are organized by Dewey Decimal Number. And so you can look that up in the online catalog. You can also use this poster that helps you find the different categories in Dewey Decimal Numbers to help you find the books you want. Or, of course, you can ask your librarian. On the right side of the library are the rest of our fiction genres. So you can tell which genre the books are by the spine label and also by the signs that are on the ends of the aisle. So for example, both sides of this shelf are the realistic fiction books. Those are books that take place in the modern day and are about things that could actually happen in the real world. So there's no magic, there's no, future, there's no past. This is just modern day things that could actually happen. Right next to it are the green spine labels. These are the adventure and survival books. So these are books about either people or animals that have to survive in some sort of dangerous situation. And these are on both sides of the end of this aisle. Down here we have the romance section. Romance is just what it sounds. They're books about sort of love stories or about relationships, and these have the pink spine label. Over here, we have actually a brand new section that I created this summer called the humor section. So these are books about that are just funny, that the whole point of the book is just to make you laugh and to be funny. So for example, down here on the bottom is where the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books are. And we also have things like the iFunny books and the Last Kids on Earth books live in the humor section. And those are a fluorescent green label. Behind those are the historical fiction books. Historical fiction books are books that take place in the past. They have a yellow label, and they're either about real people who really existed in the past, or they are made up people, but about sort of events and real life things that did happen in the past. Next to that, we have our mystery and thriller section. This is the section of books about where there might be a murder or a kidnapping or some sort of crime or some sort of other mystery that needs to be solved. If you like scary books, you might like books in that mystery thriller section, but you might also like books in the paranormal and horror section. The horror section has books about things like ghosts and zombies and other kinds of monsters, really creepy stuff, pretty much too creepy for me to read most of the time. Right behind here, we have our sports fiction section. So these are books that are centered around some sort of sport, and that is like the purpose of the book. And then last but definitely not least, because these books make up the vast majority of the books in the library, is our fantasy, science fiction, and dystopian genre. And those are the purple labels. So they actually start on this shelf and then they wrap all the way around this backside the tall bookcases in the library. Fantasy, science fiction, and dystopian books are books about things like magic, mythological creatures. They might be books that take place in the future. They may involve time travel. And dystopian books are books that are about, usually they take place in the future and they have some sort of evil government that's taken over. Maybe there was some sort of environmental disaster or a war, and the people that are living in that time are having to survive in this sort of difficult circumstances. Usually there's some sort of unlikely hero that comes and tries to help everybody get out of the situation. So for example, Hunger Games or Divergent. So all of those kinds of fun books are here in the fantasy, sci-fi, dystopian section. So if you have questions about where to find something, use the signs on the ends of the aisle, use the online catalog, or ask me.